सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। So in the shloka 218 we saw asau swasakshiko bhavo. We didn't see that. I think we saw the 217, sorry, 217, where we saw tatsakshikam bhavet tattad yadyad yenanubhuyate kasyapi ananubhutarthe sakshitvam nopapadyate. So everything that is witnessed by the sakshi, everything is including its abhava. So if you say that you do not see anything other than the absence of everything, that implies that you are cognizing the absence, thereby you are the witness sakshi of the abhava. And then you cannot ask the question as to who else remains, who remains where you can have your association with. Swatmana atra vipaschita Vijnayam kimu vastu asti. You cannot ask that. Vijnayam is you who can never be known as an object, who is the ever objectifier or the subject. Samanyatah uktva prakrute tu aha asau iti. That was generally what was said as to, although we have seen the specific also in the context what is the implication, but generally it is said that whatever is tat sakshikam bhavet tattad yedyad yena anubhuti, whatever is experienced by anyone, that becomes the object for the witness. That was said. And whenever there is nothing to be kasyapi ananubhutarthe, an object which cannot be witnessed, there cannot be sakshitvam for the sakshi. But here for the abhava also there is sakshitvam because it is objectified. So that was the general case. In the context specifically what is being said, how it is to be applied, that is said here. Asau swasakshiko bhavo yatasvena anubhuyate atah param swayam sakshat pratyagatmana chetaraha. So in your book, in your print, if you have bhavo, asau swasakshiko bhavo, the avagraha is missing there. Add an avagraha, otherwise it has to be abhava. It is not bhava, it is abhava. Of course, if avagraha is there, you can split it as bhava or abhava both ways. But here, abhava, it should be abhava. Asau swasakshika abhava. Abhava is swasakshika. Swasakshika is also a bahuri. Kap pratyayanta. So, swam sakshi yasya saha swasakshi. And swasakshi, to indicate that it's a bahuri, swarthe kap pratyay is added. Swasakshikaha. So, abhava is swasakshika, meaning what? Swam means swayam, sakshi yasya abhavasya saha abhava swasakshika. That abhava for which I am the witness. You yourself are the witness. So, swam is oneself. Oneself is the witness for which abhava, that abhava is called as swasakshika, meaning having me as witness. And therefore, the Shishya's question is answered that who is to be known, you are to be known, who is objectifying that absence. So yataha svena anubhuyate, yataha that abhava, yasmat karanat abhava svena anubhuyate, tasmat karanat asau abhava swasakshika bhavati. This is the anvaya. Tasmat has to be added since yata is there, so tataha or tasmat has to be added. Since this abhava is experienced by you, therefore you are the sakshi of this abhava. And what is sakshi? We saw yesterday, the closing line of the earlier bhashya, which said akartrutve sati bodhruttvasya eva sakshitvat, meaning sakshitvam is defined as akartrutve sati bodhrutvam. Akartrutve means not being a participant to the action. One who knows, he is called as a witness. So you are a witness without actually being a participant to the abhava or the bhava of any of the koshas. Atah param swayam sakshat pratyagatma na chaitaraha, and therefore atah is there. Okay, so we don't have to add tasmat, but for asau swasakshiko abhava yatah svena anubhuyate, therefore param swayam sakshat pratyagatma na chaitaraha. So the param is swayam, paramatma is swayam, because the sakshi is one. Sakshi cannot be many. Upanishad talks about one sakshi. The sakshat aparokshat brahma, that brahma is called as the sakshi. And since brahma is the sakshi, here you are the sakshi of the bhava as well as abhava, therefore you are brahma, meaning param brahma swayam. I myself am param brahma sakshat, directly. There is nothing intervening in between. It is not a glorification. It is not to be known through indriyas. It is something which is known when all indriya association, all these sukshma and sthula associations drop off, which are due to error, due to avidya. Once that goes away, then sakshat without any mediacy, it is what is immediately known, that is sakshat swayam brahma and pratyagatma. It is the innermost self for everyone. Where there is I, ahankara, that I for everyone is unto the same locus, which is Parabrahma, and na chaitaraha. It is not different from the Brahma that we know from Shastras, that I am. Asau ahamadi sarva vikaranam abhavaha swasakshikaha. This abhava, which is abhava of what? Of all vikaras such as ahankara ityadi. So that is called as swasakshika, and swasakshika is swam swayam sakshiyasya. Swam is equal to swayam, oneself is a sakshi witness, for which abhava, that abhava is called as swasakshika. Tatra hetuhu yataha yasmat karanat, since svena panchanam koshanam nishede api avishashtena svena anubhuyate. Because what is the hetu? The hetu, you being a witness for that abhava who is still existent and conscious, a sentient entity, the pramana, the karana for that is given as, since panchanam koshanam nishede api svena, once all these nishedas are done, all the negations of all the koshas are done by you, then you remain avashishtena, you remain, and you are known, experienced by yourself directly. Tatra sarvabhavam vina kinchinna pashyami iti uktireva manam. And what is the pramana for that? Pramana is this statement of the shishya that I do not see anything other than the absence of everything. Sarvabhavam vina kinchinna pashyami iti uktau. Sarvabhavam pashyami iti uktam eva bhavati iti. What we saw yesterday. When you say that I do not see anything other than absence of everything, that means you cognize the absence of everything. That is where your focus should be, to understand that I am the cognizer of absence and I still remain. Iti tasya abhavasya darshana vishayatvam. And for that reason, the abhava is an object. And once abhava is an object, then tava drashtratvam. Then you are the seer. If abhava is the seen, then you are the seer. This is what is implied there. Ataha pratyagatma swayam sakshat nitya aparoksham. Sakshat means nitya aparoksham. The sakshat in the mantra also. Shruti mantra, sakshat has to be understood differently as aparoksham. Aparokshat has to be understood as aparoksham. Yat sakshat aparokshat brahma. So that aparokshat should be understood as aparoksham. Iti shrutehe yat sakshat aparokshat brahma iti shrute. Brihadaranyaka mantra says that Brahma is one who is Aparoksha is directly known. Everything else is known via some intermediate device such as Indriya Ityadi. But you, one who is known directly is myself. I do not need anyone else to help me know myself. In the sense, you need Shruti to understand your real nature, because the way it works is that Shruti reveals your nature by negation of what you are not. And once you understand that, Shruti helps you through the Neti Prakriya to drop off every erroneous understanding. Once that misunderstanding is dropped off, all misunderstandings are dropped off, the locus remains clear with yourself. And towards that, there is nothing else which is needed. Shruti also works in the, Mahavakya also works in the Neti way alone. In Mandukya, Bhagavan Bhashyakara says that. There is a Purva Pakshi who says that Shruti has utility in the sense that these Mahavakyas are telling you that you are one with Brahma. He says, although that is said, still it is working only through the Neti Prakriya. It is when it says that you are Brahma, it means that you are no one else other than Brahma. So you are nothing else that you take yourself to be. Then what remains, Shruti need not tell you what remains. What remains is you. Even if it tells you your Anubhava is Sakshat, and that what you know yourself, what you know directly without any intermediate device or any intermediate organ, sense organ, is Brahma, meaning that what you know is Brahma and what you know is yourself. Therefore, Brahma is you. Param Sarvotkrushtam Brahma eva, and that Paramatma is who is the highest. The highest known in the Shastras is Parabrahma. Nothing is beyond that, and that Brahma, Sarvotkrushtam Param Brahma, Aham eva, Swayam meaning Aham eva, Itaro nacha Brahma Bhinnam na eva ityartha. Cannot be anything other than Brahma, because Brahma alone is Sakshat, you are Sakshat, and Aparoksham, Brahma is Aparoksha Swayam. Uktarupam artham spashtam vistarena kathayati jagraditi. So Uktarupam artham, whatever has been said, this idea, vistarena, spashtam, clearly and in a more elaborate manner, Bhagavan Bhashyakara or Bhagavad Padacharya describes kathayati through the next shloka. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sputataram yosau samujhumbate pratyagrupa sada aham aham mityantas purannekada nanakara vikara bhajina iman pashyan ahandhi mukhan nityananda chidatmana spuratitam vidhi swametam hridi. A little difficult, I do not know which meter it would fit in. I have not studied Chandasa Shastra. So here Jagrat Swapna Shushuptishu Sputataram. And since the meter changes every few shlokas, it's a little difficult to keep track. Anyway, I hope you can tolerate this. Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputataram Yaha Asau Samujrumbate. One who is bhasate, avabhasate, one who is clearly known, Sputataram. Sputataram, Tarap Pratyaya tells you it is a comparative. But Sputataram, without anything in comparison, when you have a comparative, it means the superlative. It means thumb up itself. So the way you say, better than the best. So when you say better, he is better, then generally you say that it is a comparative degree. But here Sputataram is clearer, or then towards the end it will be the clearest. So with clarity, basically with clarity, yaha asau, that which you know from Shastras, yaha asau, that which you know from the Shastra, and Sputataram, now you know asau, Sputataram yaha samujrumbate bhasate, one who clearly appears now after the kosha nisheda, all the koshas, where Jagrat Swapna Shushuptishu. Across these three states, one who appears is not really with the koshas. There are koshas in Jagrat which are different from the koshas in Swapna. So they sublate each other. If you see whether the Jagrat Sarira is the one which is right, which is the real one, or the Swapna Sharira, which is the real one, they refute each other. And thereby what remains? In Sushupti, you know, we are without Sharira. So without Sharira, what you are, even that Anandamaya Kosha which exists is negated through whatever study we have had. Now, who pervades through all this, who has Anuvritti in all these three states, Jagrata, Swapna, Sushuptishu, clearly one who is existent and who appears to be there even when the states aren't there, even when the bodies aren't there, even when the koshas aren't there. Pratyak Rupate, as the innermost self, who cannot be negated, you cannot go any further. How does he appear now? Sada aham aham iti spuran ekada. Who is one across. There is a pratyavijna that I am the one who woke up, I am the one who dreamt, I am the one who slept, and thereby ekada spuran, as a singular entity who pervades all these states, who shines as I. So there is this ahankara which comes up before associating with anything else in any of these states, but then who actually precedes this I as a single one, ekada spuran, who does not have to come up again and again, who is sada aham aham ityal. So aham is varying. This I, that I. So I am the waker, I am the dreamer. So that I keeps on coming up as though different. But then it is one. Ekada spuran anekada bhasate. So ekada spuran, one who is actually self-effulgent once, he does not have to keep on shining again and again. But once he shines as the waker, as the dreamer, then it appears as though there is a different locus in ahankara, but that locus is only one, ekada. We will see more about what ekada means in the Vyakhya. Nanakara vikara bhajina iman pashyan. So seeing these, what are these? Nanakara vikara bhajina. So those who partake various vikaras of various shapes, akara, and they are manifold, a variety of vikaras he is witness to. Seeing those ahandi mukhan, which ahandi mukhan iman, which are nana vikara bhajina, those who partake various vikaras, in various forms they appear, he is witnessing those ahandi mukhan, they are facing you. They are facing you. Paranchi khani veturan swayambhu, we are all tuned outwards. So whatever appears, they are all facing you, or you are facing them, however you take it, and you are witnessing them, whoever is there, that Nityananda Chidatmana Spurati. Yaha asau samujrambate saha Nityananda Chidatmana Spurati tam, and one who is also Yaha. So Yaha Spurati, not only samujrumbate asau bhasate, but sputataram bhasate, but Nityananda Chidatmana Spurati. Finally, you know that it is the Ananda Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, and who is ever existent. Across the three states is existent, and he will be existent even in, not when he is existent in Nitya Pralaya, he will be existent in Pralaya also. He is existent when there is a Nitya Mrityu, he will be existent in the Mrityu, in the general parlance also. So Sushupti is Nitya Mrityu or Nitya Pralaya. It is taking up new Sharira. Once you go from Jagrut to Swapna, what is the difference? In Swapna, the locus is there in the Swapna Sharira. In Jagrat, there is the Tadatmya Sambandha is the Jagrat Sharira. But the same I is continuing across two different Shariras. In Mrityu also, across Janmas, you go through Mrityu as if Sushupti is there and you associate with another Sharira. Pralaya also same thing. So this is Nitya Pralaya or Nitya Mrityu. Sushupti is what can be called as Nitya Mrityu or Nitya Pralaya. Now Nityananda Chidatmana, thereby you know you have been existent across two bodies, across dream body, across every day you dream even if you don't remember, and you take various bodies. May or may not be human Sharira even in rare cases. Thereby you know that you have Anuvritti even across Janmas. Then Nitya, therefore Nitya. Ananda, because you know Sushupti Ananda on waking up, and Chidatmana, since you are existent, you are conscious. You were witness to that Ananda, you were witness to that lack of knowledge in Sushupti which you recall, and we saw that recollection is possible only when it is collected. Therefore, you were conscious then of your witness to the Sushupti Anubhava even during Sushupti. Therefore, Chit also, and Chidatmana in that form, one who spurati, form in the sense not akara but in that nature. Nityananda Chidatmana, Nityananda Swarupena. Yah spurati tam vidhi swam etam hrudi. Know that as being, that being is yourself, and that being is yourself. Know that as swam etam hrudi. Etam means who is seen as asau. That far you see asau in the Shastras, who is understood as some Brahma who is very, very far away, very difficult to attain. And now it is said as etam means very close, in the most the closest proximity, which is you really. So there is no, as proximity is such that there is no separation at all. And where is that? When you say I, you point to your Hridaya, so Hridi. But Hridi meaning in Hridaya Akasha, where there is Manas is said to be there, Antakarana is said to be there, where there is Buddhi, and in Buddhi you understand it. Therefore, understand yourself to be known in the Buddhi, and thereby the locus is in the Buddhi. Therefore, Hridi it is said in the Hridi. Pratyag Rupataya, the Vyakhya, Pratyag Rupataya, Sarvantarataya. Sarvantarataya, because Pratyag, what is the innermost self for you is the innermost self for another also. Therefore, Sarvantarataya, as the innermost self of everyone. They say that Sarvahridaya Sakshi, Sarvadeha Sakshi, he is there within everyone as Sakshi. It is the same Sakshi. Antaryami, they say. Antaryami, the inner controller. So it is not the Lord who is someone else, who is understood as someone else, but it is you. Sada ekada ekarupena. Ekada ekarupena, as a ekarupena, being one. In one, being one, he appears to be manifold. Aham iti anidantaya. Aham means what? As a subject, not as an object. So anidantaya, not idam. Not idam means who cannot be objectified. Therefore, aham iti spuran, shining forth as I as a subject, as an objectifier of everyone. Swayam prakashamanaha. He shines by himself, self-effulgence. And ahandi mukhan means ahankara pramukhan. So ahandi mukhan. So all these. So ahandi mukhan is taken as pramukhan. I explained as facing you, but it is taken as all these koshas. So I took mukhan as literally. Here mukhan is pramukhan. So that which is mukhya. So mukha is taken as mukhya. Mukhya meaning which is the primary. Ahankara is the primary. Vijnanamaya kosha is primary among all the koshas. So all these koshas, that is said as koshas, I took it as entire prapancha. But here you can say as ahandi mukhan, ahankara pramukhan, dehantan koshan. Those koshas starting with ahankara and ending with the stula deha. These are the ones which are nana vikara bhajina. They take up various shapes, and then iman, these ones which are passion. Seeing these koshas, by drigdrishya viveka, you know that what is seen is not me. Techa vikaraha janmasthiti viparinama vruddhya apakshaya nasha rupaye nana bhava vikaraha tan bhajante iti nana kara vikara bhajina. They take various forms. They go through various stages also. So nana vikaras, vikaras are what? They are all the shad vikaras. Shad vikaras are what? So he has given the shad vikaras as janma sthiti. Janma being born, sthiti existent. So being existent as an object which can be objectified. Otherwise existence itself cannot be cognized. So their sthiti is that which can be objectified. In the form of being objectifiable it appears. Therefore that is the sthiti. And then the sharira undergoes changes. It grows. Vruddhi is there. Apakshaya, it declines in old age, and then nasha, it dies away. What dies away is the sharira, the koshas. and Nasharupa, ye nana bhava vikara, those kind of vikaras, ye tan bhajante, partakes of those, these koshas partake of those vikaras, they go through these vikaras, therefore you are one who is objectifying that without really changing. The same child that you were there earlier, the same infant that you can recall yourself to be, whatever, as a child, maybe infancy we can't recall, but then the same one I continue across various bodies as an infant, as a child, as a young person, as an old person. Iti nana vikara bhajina tan. In second case, because passion, object to passion, seeing those. Ahankarasya api antakarana padavachyasya, that ahankara, which is basically ahankara is one of the roles of the antakarana as well. It can be included in antakarana. Antakarana padavachyasya, that which can be included in antakarana. Dehadyakarana parinama manatvat nanakartam bodhyam. And since ahankarasya, when I am associated with antakarana, or I am associated, that when I am associated with antakarana, it becomes ahankara. Similarly, that associated with the stula deha becomes deha. So I am this deha. This is how the understanding is erroneous, but one considers oneself to the body is the parinama manatva. Since that ahankara itself keeps on changing its tadatmya sambandha with each of these koshas, therefore nanakaratvam bodhyam. Therefore ahankara is also manifold. Its association with which kosha defines its role, it defines its features. Therefore nanakaratvam, manifoldness is of ahankara, is also to be understood in this manner. Iman drishya padarthan, whichever are seen, passion, seeing those, meaning objectifying those, vishayi kurvan, jagra swapna sushuptishu, when in all the states, sakala prani siddhasu tisrushu api avasthasu, in all the avasthas which are common to all pranis, not only human beings, devatas, the animals, birds, insects, for everything it is common. For everyone it is common. Sputataram atisputam yaha asau, one who objectifies this very clearly. Saha avivekena viprakarshat adas shabda prayoga. Adas shabda asau has been said that is because it is not, that is a pronoun used for something which is further away, and it is further away for people who are not having viveka. Therefore it is said avivekena viprakarshad, since it is not clearly known, it is far away, and thereby for avivekis it is called as adashabda prayoga. So one starts as an aviveki, then one gains viveka, then one having gained viveka, that comes closer and closer till it becomes etam, till you know that as etam, and that is how the gap is bridged between the Shastra Paroksha Jnana, that Paroksha Brahma, to Aparoksha Sakshat, Aparokshat Brahma. You bridge the gap by Shravana Manan Nididhyasana. Samujrumbate means Paranirapeksham bhasate. Paranirapeksham bhasate, without any expectancy of anything else, it shines forth clearly. Therefore it is called as Samujrumbate here in the first line. Nityananda Chidatmana, meaning Swayam Prakasha Nityananda Swarupena Hridis Purati Tam Etam Swamatmanam Vidhi Janihi. Know that Brahma which shines forth in the Hridaya, in the Buddhi, know that to be yourself, and that is what is to be known. And what is Nityananda Chidatmana? Swayam Prakasha. It is self-shining, self-effulgent, and Nityananda Swarupena. You don't need anyone to tell you that you are conscious or existent, but for Ananda a little more time is needed. Sometimes a lot more time is needed to know why I am Ananda Swarupa. But Swayam Prakasha, it is, you are self-effulgent, is known. easily. Satya and Sat Chit is easy compared to Ananda. But once you know that Swayam Prakasha Nityananda Swarupena, so Nitya, Ananda and Nitya, Ananda and Chit can be taken as three separate in Dvandva, or Nitya Ananda and Nitya Chit. So that way also it can be taken, but then Sat does not become covered, therefore Dvandva is better. So Hridis Puradi Tametam Swamatmanam Vidhi. So this answers the question of the Shishya as to who remains. I don't see anyone remaining, so who am I? That kind of a question, you know. I don't see how this will lead to moksha because I don't see anything. Evam sarvasakshitaya sputatarasya kutah tatha viviktataya agrahanam iti shankayam maudhyam eva moolam iti sadrishtantamah ghatodaketi. So evam sarvasakshitaya sputatarasya kutah tatha viviktataya kutastatha viviktataya agrahanam iti shankayam. When there is a doubt, Shanka is there. What is the Shanka? That due to what reason? Kutaha tatha viviktataya agrahanam. Why is it that evam sarvasakshitaya sputatarasya, that which is clearly a sakshi, not a karta, why is it that it gets mixed up? And why is there viviktataya agrahanam? Why is it not this? Why is this Atma not seen separately from whatever we see as koshas? Koshas are seen as Atma, but Atma is never seen separately. This mixing up is there. Why is it there a mixing up? If it is, if I am a witness to everything, why do I take myself to the koshas? Koshas as Atma. Just a moment, please. Sorry. Why is it? So, iti shankayam. When this doubt is there, answer is given is modhyam eva moolam. For that, the only reason is delusion. You get deluded into thinking that I am the Sharira ityadi, but really there should not be any mixing up. So what is it? The answer really, what is a delusion? What here Maya Shakti is behaving in such a manner that even if it is, it should not be possible. But that's how it is. What should not be possible? So how can there be an association of an asanga with a gross padartha? How can there be this gross sharira, stula sharira? How can an asanga atma be associated? It is impossible. But Maya is that which makes impossibility a possibility. That's why Maya is also translated as magic. It is magical. How is it possible? Maya sarvasya sambhavat. In magic anything is possible. So if you don't understand something, you say, so it's magical, it's a magic, and then you move on. Because if you say magic, it is like answering the question without really answering the question. How? Because you don't know how. You spend any amount of time, you will never know how. Shastras give up after explaining in so many different ways, gives up by saying Maya, this is how it is. Maya has all sorts of weird kinds of possibility, all sorts of Shaktis. So it has the Shakti of covering up something and projecting something which is not. Thereby, Viviktataya Agranam Kimartham Nasti, because Maudhyam eva Karanam. That is the, under the influence Maya, Avidya, we are deluded. Sadrashtantamah, and with an example he is explaining that Ghatodake bimbitamarkamibbam alokya mudho ravimeva manyate tatha chidabhasam upadi samstham bhrantyahamityeva jadobhimanyate. So Ghatodake, in the water which is there inside a pot. So pot water, inside the pot water, bimbitam, reflected, arka bimbam, the reflection of the sun. The bimbitam arka bimbam is the sun or sunlight which appears as a sun there, as a tiny sun in the water. It's a reflected sun in the, so there's pot, there is water in the pot, and then there is reflection in the pot. All these three are lit up by the sun in the sky, who is so far away. So far away means he has no connection at all. He is asanga. He is asanga to the pot water as well as the reflection. But all are lit up by the same sun. Having seen this, alokya moodaha ravimeva manyate. So one who is deluded, or one who is a child, he does not know the difference, then he will see that there is a source of light inside the water. It shines, so he thinks there is a sun inside there. Unless he knew that what is sun, he can consider that whatever is shining in the water is sun. Alokya moodaha ravimeva manyate. Tata chidabhasam upadi samstam. Similarly, so this is so far is the drishtanta. What is the darshtantika, the exemplified? Similarly, chidabhasam is the reflected consciousness. That reflected consciousness, upadi samstam, which is there in the upadi, reflected. Where is it reflected? It is reflected in the upadi, in the buddhi, in the antakarana. Due to bhrantya, aham iti eva jadaha abhimanyate. Jada means jada buddhi, one who is like is an aviveki. An aviveki, a laukika person, considers that I, individualized I, as oneself. Although one is not individualized at all. He is not reflected consciousness. He is the original consciousness, which is Brahma, which is not segmented. But still, jadaha bhrantya aham iti eva abhimanyate. He considers, who am I? I am this individual. Moodaha ghatodake ghatanta varti jale. In the water which is there inside the pot, bimbitam pratiyamanam arkabimbam suryamandalam pratibimbam alokya drishtva ravimeva manyate. Having seen the solar disk in the reflected in the water which is there inside the pot, he considers that reflection itself to be the sun. Na tatra tasya suryaha bhinnaha ayantu tatpratibimba iti jnanam. He does not have na tatra tasya suryaha bhinnaha ayantu pratibimba iti jnanam. So iti jnanam nasti. He does not have this knowledge that Surya is different, Surya is separate, shining in the sky, and this one is its reflection. He does not know that, he does not have that knowledge. Tatha upadi samstam. Similarly, one who does not have knowledge that reflection is different from, generally when you grow up you definitely know that reflection is different, but what happens is that you don't even know that it is a reflection. That kind of a tadatmya sambandha is there. That is the jada buddhi. So tatha upadi samstam upadishu buddhyadishu pratiyamanam chidabhasam chit pratibimbham. That similarly, that reflected consciousness, where is it reflected? It is reflected in the antakarana, and then through the association the sentience pervades into satta, and chitta pervades, chaitanya pervades unto each and every kosha that it takes as a layer, which by itself is jada but appears to be sentient due to the presence of Atma with tadatmya sambandha. Thereby, bhrantya avivekena, due to delusion, due to non-discrimination, aham ityeva abhimanyate. One considers all these as oneself, and thereby bhramyati. One samsarati, one gets deluded, and viparitam pratipadyate ityartha. One knows contradictly, and the end result will be, see, bhramyati is a comment on abhimanyate. One considers means one deludes oneself, and this delude oneself means that as long as delusion is there, samsaranam will be there. He considers bhramyati, brahmayati means what? Abhimanyate means bhramyati, and bhramyati means what? Viparitam pratipatti. Knows it. So what is delusion? Knowing contradictorily. No, yathartha jnana is not there, ayathartha jnana is there. And by extension, samsaranam is there. There is samsara. Vastutastu. But in reality, what is the case? Ghatanjalam tadgatamarkabimbam vihaya sarvam divivikshaterkaha तटस्थितस्तत्त्रितयावभासकः स्वयं प्रकाशो विदुषो यथा तथा. But what is the case in reality? In reality, ghata, jala and tadgata arkabimba, the pot, the water inside the pot and the reflection inside the water which is inside the pot, all these three are what? Vihaya sarvam, without any association with any of these three, the sun, arka vikshate divi, he exists and he shines in the sky, completely disconnected from these three. However, tatastitah sun, tritaya, tatasya tat tritayam, tritayam avabhasate, avabhasaka, avabhasati, avabhasayati. So one who makes these shine, tritayam, or the group of these three. What is this? Ghata, jala and tadgata, tadantargata bimba, pratibimba. That bimba, arka bimba, the reflection of the sun, all these three, the pot, water and the reflection, is lit up by this sun, who is asanga but still lights up. And lighting it up does not affect him at all, because it is his own nature. Like the Agni does not burn or light up anything by itself. There is no kartrutva. If you go beside the Agni, you will be lit up and burnt. So, from the perspective of the Agni, it is not doing anything. By its nature, it is just appearing to, it is effulgence. If it is effulgence and it has heat by nature. It is not burning you by its nature. If you go close to it, you get burnt. Getting burnt and Agni burning you are two different things. So, sun, in the presence of the sun, the ghata antargata jala and jala antargata pratibimba, all three are lit up by the sun. How they, from the perspective of these three, they are lit up by the sun. From the perspective of the sun, he is not a karta of lighting up. He is a sangha. So, tatasthita, that is tatasthita. He is avabhasaka, but still tatasthita means he is standing on the banks, overlooking the river. So, overlooking the river, if you are there, standing on the banks, you cannot be responsible for anything that happens in the river waters. So, similarly, he is tate tishtati iti tatasthitaha. He is as though on the banks, he is on the sidelines. He has nothing to do with the pot, the water and the reflection. So that's why mithya. Has he done it? From your perspective, yes, he has lit up. From his perspective, no, I have not lit up. If you personify the sun. So tatasthita, but tat tritaya avabhasaka, he is, although he is asanga, or rather although he is lighting up, he is still asanga. It's better to see it that way, that although he is seen to be lighting all these up, he is still separate from all these asanga. Swayam prakashaha vidushaha yatha tatha. And he is swayam prakashaha. He is self-effulgent. His light is not borrowed, while the light which this ghata shines, the ghata is shining the sunlight. It is reflecting the sunlight. Shining means it is shining after. It is reflecting the sunlight. The water is reflecting the sunlight, and the reflection is anyway reflecting the sunlight. So all these three are reflecting the original sunlight. So the light that we see of the ghata, of the water, and of the reflection are all three borrowed. But the light of the sun is its own. Therefore, swayam prakasha, self-effulgent. Yatha bhavat tatha. Similarly, vidusha api. Similarly, the vidwan also is swayam prakasha. One who knows, he himself is also tate tishtati. He is also tatastha. He is unconnected atma, and he is also swayam prakasha. Swayam prakasha, because his effulgence, consciousness is not borrowed. So that is the meaning here. Ghatamiti. You will see more in the Vyakhya. Ghatamiti. Ghatam, Jalam, Tadgatam ghatagata jalagatam. So tadgatam means what? That water which is present inside the pot, inside that water there is arkabimbam, there is a reflection of the surya pratibimbam, sarvam vihaya, having, disassociating with everyone. He does not have to dissociate. He is already nitya asanga. Tatastita means udasina. He has nothing to do with those. Udasina is neutral. He has nothing to do with that water, whether it is very pure, pristine, pure water, Ganga Jala. Ganga Jala is unfortunately not pure in terms of the content. But then for us, spiritual value wise, we say that dharmic value Ganga has. So whether the water is pure or impure, whether it is completely dirty, sun has nothing to do with that. Therefore he is tatastita, meaning udasina, he is neutral to these. Trinetan atirichya vartamanaha. Transcending all these three, he is beyond this. So tatra hetuhu, just reminds me of a comical statement of Puji Swamiji. So whenever he used to say beyond, he used to recall this. So beyond means, there is one Swamiji, he said, some westerner who named himself as Beyond Ananda. So generally Ananda is added to show the Ananda Swarupa of the Atma. Person has attained that, therefore for sannyasis Ananda is added, especially in our sampradaya. So like you have this, Ananda, all these are added to the sannyasi's name. So he called himself as Beyond Ananda. I just recalled it. Sorry for the detour. So Trinetan Atirichya is going beyond these. So that triggered that memory. Tatra hetuhu tat tritaya avbhasaka. Tritaya avbhasakaha. Tatra hetu. What is the hetu there? Tritaya avbhasakaha. He is the revealer of these. He reveals by shining upon them. He makes those objects appear. Ghata tadagata. What is that? Tat Tritayam. What is this? That threefold. Ghata, Tadgata, Jala, Tadgata, Pratibimba. All three which have, so the water which has entered the pot and entered as in present inside the pot, and the reflection which is entered means which is present inside the pot. So all is Ghata, Tadgata, Jala, and then Tadgata Pratibimba means Jalagata Pratibimba. Ghata, Ghatagata Jala, and Ghatagata Jalagata Pratibimba. That is the samasa there. And Ghata Tadgata Jala Tadgata Pratibimba Rupa Padartha Traya Prakashaka. It is the revealer of all these three which are objects. He is the Sakshi. He is the revealer of these Prakashaka. He lights them up. But not with Kartrutva. Swayam Prakasha means Svetara Bahir Jyoti Hi Anobhasyaha. He is one who is Swayam Prakasha. Swayam Prakasha means Svetara, meaning other than oneself, no external light is needed by him. Bahir Jyoti Anobhasya. He is not lit up by anything external to himself which is different from himself. Yatha, similarly, Arka Yatha Suryaha Divi Vikshate, just like the Surya Antarikshe Avalokyate Tatha is seen in the sky. Similarly, Tatha what? This Vidushaha api. So that is the 221st shloka. We'll stop a little early here because 222 and 223 are to be read together, and there is a slightly longer bhashya on that. We can do the shloka, but then I'll have to repeat this tomorrow anyway. So I'll stop here. We'll continue in the next part. सर्व वेदांत सिद्धांत गोचरंतम गोचरम गोविंदम परमानंदम सद्गुरुम प्रणतोस्मि ओम तत्सत्. Any questions? No questions, so I'll see you in the next part. So I have a question. Okay. Yes, Swamiji, what is the question?
Swamiji, can you hear me? Sunil here.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Swamiji, in this, one of the things that I'm struggling with in the process of negation, once I'm past the intellectual sheet, who remains now? Who's witnessing? I mean, the state of not seeing anything comes later. But my first struggle is that when the intellect is gone, since this whole negation is an intellectual process, and I have negated the intellectual she, who remains?
See, that is the question, right? Even cognitively, when you say that if the intellect is gone, all my witnessing, we think that I am nothing without the buddhi, because using the antakarana itself, when the vritti is there only, then I can know. So that's why when the philosopher said that I think, therefore I am. But it is not true. You may or may not think, not the other way around. I think, therefore I am is wrong. You are not existent because you think. So you are existent even without thinking. So it is going to be a cognitive process only. You cannot really objectify yourself. So what is going to happen is that you objectify the buddhi. If the buddhi is going, then the vrittis are not there. When akhandakara vritti takes place, even when you are inquiring on the Mahavakya, that process takes place in the buddhi. And when the vritti comes in, that vritti which takes away the ajnana will also go away after taking away the ajnana. So that vritti has to be repeated for you to know that something is happening, that you can witness something. But really, if that goes away also, you exist clearly. You exist even if there is no vritti. That vritti takes away the ajnana. So even if vritti is not there, meaning buddhi is not there, you have negated, cognitively it has gone, and then it resolves, no vichara is taking place. If you are not doing any vichara also, you will still exist. So who exists? You, the objectifier, who is doing vichara and now not doing vichara, still exists. So who exists is, you are trying to see that entity you are trying to objectify. You cannot objectify. That is why the difficulty as to withdraw from everything. You think that you will not exist without this, without the vichara you will not exist. So drop that thinking that you do not exist without any of these. Who exists is you, the objectifier, the ever objectifier. And the issue with that is, once you are not an objectifier, because there is no object, then you cannot be called as an objectifier. But you still exist as the witness. But as a witness to what? There is nothing to witness. But still you remain, the tag given is witness, but you don't have to witness anything. There is nothing else to witness. So you remain as yourself without any objectification possible. You remain yourself.
Is that what you call as the I experience, Swamiji?
Yes, that is what I see. You see aham spurana coming up. You see aham coming up, but there is nothing for idam to be there. There is nothing else. So aham comes in, it drops. Then again aham. So I, that is continuous. But that I is also not you. That I is ahankara, which cannot associate with anything else. So it drops off on its own. Otherwise, I comes in, it associates with something, and then you get carried forward. You miss the I. That I is, that ahankara vritti is also coming up again and again, you miss that. But when you have nothing to associate with, then the spurana is clear. I comes in. It comes, it cannot associate with anything, so you cannot get lost in the noise. Therefore, you can see that clearly, aham. Even that will subside. Even that subsides, and then what remains is you.
So Swamiji, one more question now. So, see, in the Anandamaya Kosha, we say that there are subtle vrittis. So while the mind and intellect is not there, yet there are subtle vrittis.
See, Anandamaya Kosha itself does not have vrittis. The vrittis will take place in the Antakarana. Anandamaya itself manifests itself, and then that is seen as a vritti in the mind, Sukhakara vritti.
Yes, I'm sorry, in Sushupti state, in deep sleep state. So there are these subtle vrittis where both the mind and intellect are absent. So it would seem that
they are in the seed form.
they're in the seed form. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you had this question earlier also. I had explained that if you remember,
Right.
our Acharya used to give this example of the salt being added in the dough.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So although it is if the even the spread out unbaked roti is not there, still it is there in the seed form. In essence, it is in the lump which has become one with the dough. And then when you add salt and you roll it out again, it is still there. Why? The spread out unbaked roti did not have salt. That's why you rolled it back. You unrolled it. You made it a lump again, and then you added salt. But how did that salt appear there if it was not spread out? Similarly, the mind was not spread out. Antakarana is not spread out, but it is in bija rupa. It is one with the lump, one with yourself. But once ananda is added, that ananda vritti is happening, then it will go to the mind as well. So when the mind is spread out, you feel that ananda was there.
Right. So now in this process of realization, even these subtle vrittis have to go, Swamiji. I mean, but it is not a complete state of thoughtlessness, or is it?
We are not saying that anything has to go really. See, Ananda Vritti does not have to go. In fact, Ananda Vritti, for a Jivan Mukta, Ananda Vritti is all that is there. There is only Ananda Vritti. Why should any Vritti go? See, for Vritti to go, only Samadhi is there. We are not insisting that the Vritti should go or should not go. What we are saying is that Ajnana should go. And Ajnana will go via Vritti itself. Now, whether the vritti happens continuously or it does not happen, it is needed or not needed, is all on a case-by-case basis. Based on prarabdha, it will be there. But ajnana going is what we are saying is utmost necessary. After that, whether there is a vritti where there is a continuous sukha anubhava or not, is based on prarabdha. Thereby we define whether stages of jnanis. But what is the interest? Is the interest is in sukha anubhava or not having vrittis, meaning going to samadhi? But if you go into samadhi also, there is ananda vritti. Ananda cannot be dropped. The reason ananda cannot be dropped is because as long as the sharira is there, even after manonasha, the sharira continues, right? You are thinking from the perspective of manonasha, from what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says. But if you take the case of manonasha also, you think though vrittis are there, but still what happens is that the sharira is continuing, right? It is not dropping off. From the perspective of the jnani, the sharira is not there, but the onlooker sees the sharira. He sees that the jnani is thinking. So from the perspective of the onlooker, there has to be, you have to infer the mana is there. But what is called as manonasha is because the jnani does not have a say as to, he does not have an insistence as for the mana to behave in a particular way. That is the manonasha. There is always an ananda vritti which continues because that is your own swarupa. You cannot go beyond your swarupa, right? So ananda vritti will continue. In fact, that is what people want. Moksha is ananda swarupa. Why do you want the ananda vritti to be not there? So you should not insist that all these vritti, even that subtle vritti should go. Let it be there. You have nothing to do with it. Whether it drops off or not is not our focus at all. It is theoretical interest. Vrittis may drop, may not drop, but we don't care much about it. We are thinking about moksha means it should not be binding. There should not be any binding to I want this vritti, I do not want this vritti. That should not be there. I don't know whether that helps.
No, I think intellectually I am understanding, Swamiji, but like just kind of separating that, so jumping off from the I to this I, this is where I'm struggling. So, cognitively I understand that, this track should continue.
It will be cognitive. If you are thinking there will be other than cognition, nothing other than cognition will be there. See, it is just clear understanding which is doubtless. That is all it is. See, when the doubts are not there, see, what are doubts? Doubts are which keep the antakarana alive. It's as simple as that. So people who think that something other than cognitive is going to happen, that you call as anubhava, what is going to happen? If you drop off the cognitive process drops off, that is anubhava. Because you have cognitive process in the sense you are thinking, what is it? It's a closed loop. It's an endless circle. If the doubts go away, the clear understanding will take away the antakarana itself. Because antakarana, I am talking purely from the perspective of how you are visiting it. You are visiting it from how Ramana Maharshi says it. So what Bhagavan Ramana says is that there is manonasha, and I will explain as to how it is cognitive. Because manonasha is the culmination of cognitive process. There is no other separate anubhava, because for anubhava also you need antakarana. What is called anubhava is aparoksha jnana, meaning the cognitive process culminates in resolution of all doubts. When doubts do not remain, then how come there will be a vritti? There will be no other vritti which will create any doubt. So antakarana manaha, which Ramana Maharshi calls as a bunch of thoughts, that will no longer be there. That is manonasha. But you do exist. It will be cognitive. There will be nothing else. So if you are, so this is what Pujya Swami used to call as experience hunting. You think that I'll be objectifying something else. You will not be objectifying anything else. As long as, so even if you objectify, that is not you. It has to be cognitive, because you have to negate that at that stage again. If you have an anubhava, you say, yes, this was a blissful experience, but you will have to negate that blissful experience because it was objectified. If you are able to objectify something, that is not you. So you will have to come back to cognition again. Otherwise, you are not a mukta. See, it's a trap. This experience hunting is a trap because it will bring the mind into play. Experience hunting and experience will bring the mind into play, and you will have to use the cognitive faculty again. So you are brought back to what you are trying to give up. You are trying to say that I will go beyond cognition, and anubhava is dragging you back into cognition. Do you see the point?
I see, Swamiji, absolutely. This is the vicious circle I am in, and I'm. Yeah.
In fact, Pujya Swami used to say that, see, this is a trap so much that you will be denying mukti to yourself. He used to say that. You will be denying. But see, I understand the difficulty. But just because I understand the difficulty, you can't say that difficulty is real. It's a trap. It has to be cognitive. That's why more you study, the more you know that this wanting to experience is an error. And I will say that it's an error for another reason, because we don't see that anubhava and jnana are same. And anubhava is jnana which is different from memory. That's all. Smriti bhinna jnanam anubhavaha. That is the definition in Nyaya Shastra, which Vedanta does not contradict. So, however you say, you call it anubhava, people have allergy to jnana, they use anubhava. And there are people in the jnana sect who have allergy to anubhava. Other way around. And there are many, both sides there are many. But I myself see both as same. Jnana and anubhava are same because Nyaya defines it very well. And having defined it, and we have not refuted. So if Bhagavan Bhashyakara or any of the Acharyas, I know at least, they have not refuted this definition. If you have not refuted Nyaya definition, you have not replaced it with, then it is the same. Similarly with Samadhi also. People have allergy with Samadhi. Samadhi, Bhagavan Bhashyakara uses the word often. Now, we don't separately define Samadhi as something else. If we do, then it is different from Yoga Samadhi. Otherwise, Yoga we don't have any issue with. Where is the issue? We should not mix up things. The issue is with their Dvaita continuing, that I am separate from Paramatma even in Samadhi and outside of Samadhi. That is where we disagree with Yoga. Similarly here, Jnana and Anubhava, what is the issue? We say Anubhava is Aparoksha Jnana. It is not Paroksha Jnana. It is not second-hand knowledge. It is not theoretical knowledge. Theoretical in the sense, there is no practice needed. Practice is this manana and nididhyasana is practice. There is nothing beyond this. There is no practice of a yogic process which is going to happen. The yogic process may or may not happen, which is samadhi.
But the proof, Swamiji, of this understanding or experience, whatever we call, is this direct experience of the state I, which means that the I is uninterrupted. Is that true?
See, when will I be uninterrupted? When there is nothing to bind. When there is nothing to bind, how do you negate yourself? Whenever you take yourself to the Sharira, there is a binding. That I gets lost. So I not getting lost is where? So it has to be a cognitive process. How will you hold on to I? See, look at it. What does even... See, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's teaching is not who am I. Okay. So that I hunting, there is a book, Hunting the I. But hunting the I also is Vicharatmaka. Even Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's process is what? Self-inquiry it is. Not who am I, but be as you are is his real teaching. So remaining what you are, not becoming something else. See, becoming something else is hunting the experience is also becoming something else. Hunting the I is also becoming something else. You don't need to hunt, you have to drop off the hunt. So I do not agree with the hunting the I also. It is a process, all right. But having understood that self-inquiry, that inquiry may seem as a hunt, but it is dropping off that search. Finally, you have to drop off that search because you cannot search yourself. As a kid, when you are playing with someone, you can't hide and then search yourself, right? You can only search the other. So here, self-inquiry is actually dropping off the other, dropping off your association with the other as the self. Unless you don't do that, that self-inquiry will continue. And finally, manonasha is when all process has come to a cognitive conclusion. Meaning you do not have any other doubts. That's when the antakarana manaha, which is sankalpa vikalpatmaka, which entertains doubt as to whether there is a separate I, do I need to do something more, is there an anubhava, all these are in the manaha. And that mana is struggling to stay alive. That is what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi used to say, that it is like the thief playing the role of the police. Because it will never end. He'll always tell you there is more to hunt. And this is exactly what Pujya Swami used to call it, denying moksha to yourself. You are denying. Even if you have landed, you don't know you have landed. So, see, I am not saying that see, we are looking at a feeling of mukti. There is no feeling of mukti per se. Dropping of that and staying there will give you more. Whatever you are looking for, that will definitely come. You try to stay there instead of getting lost into this, oh no, this is not it, I need something more. You hold on to what you have got. Not, so that is what is called as pramada. Pramado vai mrityuhu. Pramado vai mrityuhu, because that pramada, negligence, not holding on to that, but trying to think that there is something more. You hold on to that at least. Hold on to that and then don't let yourself slip into other thoughts. See, this is it. You slip into the thought when you think that there is more to do. There is nothing more to do. In fact, there is nothing to do other than the self-inquiry, where you negate whatever you are trying to become, you negate that. Cognitively, you cannot negate, as you cannot see, you cannot leave the sharira. How do you leave the sharira? That will be a yogic process. That will be taking another sharira. That is all useless. To the goal it is useless. It may be needed for some who do not understand this cognitive process and say, no, I need experience of another body to know that I am separate from the body. People who have such deep-rooted desires and deep-rooted association with the body, who cannot think, for them yoga process is there, that you separate out and, parakaya pravesha, or you separate from this and then but then it is getting lost in siddhis. That brings in more desires than actually the understanding of I being separate from the body. See, how do you say that you are separate from the body? It is a cognitive process, right? Yeah, I can't show you separately from the body. The only way you will know is because through this Jagrata Swapna Shushupti examples. That is how you will understand you are separate from the koshas. Other than that, there is a cognitive, other than the cognitive process is a supporting yoga where you stop the breathing for a long time and see how you are different from the pranamaya kosha. Otherwise, see, right now I can't tell you, okay, wait, hold on to your breath for a complete minute. Can you do that? Maybe you can, but if you can't, and thereby there is an erroneous thinking that I am pranamaya kosha, there the yogic process will come to the help as you try pranayama for a long duration, reduce your breath cycle, reduce your number of breath counts per minute, and then finally that breathing will stop. It has to stop for a long duration, and then you will be, then at least you will know that yes, I have anubhava of this, that I am not pranamaya kosha. There it will be very clear if you have a doubt. But now if you have a doubt that no, I have to witness the eye, you cannot witness the eye. It is an impossibility, because whatever you witness, as we saw yesterday, there will be another stockman, a person who will come up and say that yes, I am this I. It is antakarana. That ego which pops up, which says I am this, which you are trying to look for, is always separate from you. How will you ever cognize yourself? You cannot. So it is always going to be an understanding via negation through the Shastra. It will not be that I will be able to have anubhava of myself. It is anubhava of nothing other than this yourself, as in nothing other is what the anubhava is. That's why it is explained earlier as to who remains. When nothing else, you can cognize nothing else, that time you remain, that is you. And once you have that, you hold on to that, that will lead to nishtha. Otherwise, it is going back to samsara again and again. But that is anubhava. Anubhava is not getting entangled with anything else. And the clarity is, that is the clarity in jnana. Aparoksha jnana is that anubhava, because you do not have any more doubts. Whenever something pops up claiming it to be I, you say not I. Say as in cognitively separate it out as not I know this, don't try to fool me. So you withdraw, and you keep on withdrawing. That will become a habit, so much so that you will remain in your natural state. Then it doesn't matter whether then the koshas are there, and then due to prarabdha you don't have a say this way or that way.
Thank you, Swamiji. I'll work on this one, I think.
It takes time. See, this doubt will remain, and this is the crux of the matter, right? This is the crux of the matter, because this idea that we get through, reading the stories of the saints. See, most of the stories of the saints are written by others. So I'll just say it since we are out there. They are written by the other. We don't really know what went on to the saints' mind. Even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, you take, it is written by M. He is the closest, all right. But then, what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, even in his own words, whatever he could convey, that is not what he is really, right? Because it is that which cannot be conveyed beyond a certain set of phrases. Beyond that, you cannot convey that. You have to be. You are that, already that. So it is always going to be a process of taking away the misunderstanding and adjusting your locus as bringing it back to yourself, and not getting hijacked by something else. So we read these stories where it can be glorification in some cases, where, see, Nirvikalpaka Samadhi is alright, but then it is not moksha. So many people have gone to Nirvikalpaka Samadhi with a lot of effort, but then still this question remains that I want to stay there. That desire becomes dridha. So it is experience hunting. And not only hunting, he has got the taste of blood. So he wants that anubhava again and again and again. And what is the error there? Why is the person still bound? Is because wanting that samadhi experience, he thinks that I am not Ananda Swarupa, I am something else, and I am becoming something else in samadhi. That is the flaw there which keeps the person in samsara. So for that reason, let the samadhi happen or not happen. Drop that idea. Once you drop that idea, you can hold on to what you are. That's all. Don't let yourself slip, and then everything else is a side effect. That ananda which is experiential is also side effect. It is not the main effect. You need not look for that. Withdrawing is fine. Wanting to withdraw from, I don't take to it that you have to be in society or anything. I'm just giving the flip side also. That people who think that no, a person is not free as long as he is in society, need not be. That is prarabdha. I have debated this with other Swamijis also, who think that no, one should be in the society, and why should one be in the society? So wanting to be in the society is equal compulsion as a person who says that I want to be in the forest. People who say that you need not run away to the forest. Similarly, the flip side is you don't need to run away into the midst of the crowd to know that you are a mukta. You don't need either. You don't need anything. That's it. Wherever you are comfortable. And let prarabdha take its course. That's why Bhagavad Padacharya says it very nicely. Prarabdha is samarpitam sovapuhu. You give yourself body up to prarabdha. See, that is what, let it happen. You are just a witness. So as long as you remain a witness, that is the process. Of I also, the process is that. You look through Ramana Maharshi's stories entirely, not in pieces. If you say nothing is to be done, he still remained in cave for 20 years. What did he do? Something should be there. That vichara has a process. So for Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, it took 20 years of mauna, etc. So we can think there as to nothing is to be done. Okay, but he still did something. Why did? Else we have to question, why did he stay in the cave for 20 years? You can say prarabdha, it was his prarabdha. So you have to agree with something, but completely. If you take prarabdha perspective, take it completely. If you say that he had something to do, you do that. What did he do? He tried not to slip into anything else. So we try not to slip into anything else. It is not that he was in self-inquiry, he was doing something, that I have to become something else. He knew what he was, he wanted to hold on to that and not slip into anything else. That took a long time, and whether he agrees or not, that's the case. If you say that he didn't agree, then you say it was prarabdha, which he will definitely agree. Or you see other cases as to where he gave into prarabdha, that he didn't react to even the thieves attacking. Can we do that? So we have to graduate to that level. Whether we can do that or not, whether I will do that or not, we don't have to have any compulsion one way or the other. But try not to get dragged into more and more of these, which will bring you back to the association with Vijnanamaya and outward. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree, Swami. I think that's the mistake I'm making. I think cognitively, I think I'm very clear. I think this process, I mean, I feel that cognitively it's clear.
The cognitive process itself will take you inwards. If you deny getting dragged into more and more doubts, of course you have to answer those doubts, but the same doubt cannot be repeated as to there is something more, how will I get this? So there is no how will I get this. You negate neti. Neti is the process of Vedanta.
Yeah.
As I said,
so staying there is the staying there is the struggle that I'm going through.
Yes,
while cognitively I am
my nature is jumpy, right?
Yes. So maybe I need to practice.
Sorry, you were saying something.
No, I was thinking, Swamiji, maybe I need to do a little bit more nididhyasana here. Just stay with that. Let the mind not now jump out as quickly or as frequently. Maybe if I stay with that thought, that possibly should calm me down. Because right now I feel that, cognitively I feel that, yes, this is very clear. I understand. Yet, I'm hunting for that experience only. That's what is keeping me restless.
I'll tell you another thing. See, the people who think that who am I is not a valid question, or who am I is the only valid question, both I think are partially incorrect. You see, the reason is, who am I is clearly a question which does not have an answer. If you answer the question, it is wrong. It is not Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's process. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's teaching, as I said, is be as you are. Meaning what? Whenever there is a who am I question, there is no answer to that question. You have to question the questioner and negate. That is the Neti process. It is a Vedantic process. This is what the Vedantic teaching also says, that whenever this question comes up, you have to negate it. It is not an answer with Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi is also I am not this. I am Brahma meaning I am not anything that I take myself to be. So whenever there is a question, the doubt, you negate the question which comes up trying to pose something else to you, you negate that. That is the process. So I am something else. No, that something else, this vritti has to grow, or this vritti is there. You have nothing to do with the vritti. You are the sakshi of the vritti. And sakshi definition we have seen yesterday, akartrutve sati bodhritvam. One who is a cognizer, one who knows without participating. So what happens is that as soon as you own up that question, that time you become a participant. You become a karta. Then you no longer are a sakshi. That is the slippage. Are you seeing the point?
Very interesting, Swamiji.
So as soon as you give value to the question beyond what it deserves, because you already answered this question many times earlier, which is an unanswerable question as to, you remain as a witness. As soon as you become a participant, you lose the status of being a witness. You are a kartra there. Because bodhrutvam is there, but akartrutve sati bodhrutvam is no longer there. You are no longer a karta there, you become a karta. Therefore, sakshi status is gone. That's why this Vyakhya brings in so much, and it is in a Nyaya terminology. So people who say Nyaya is useless is also not right. For some it may be very helpful. It helps you say that I am a sakshi, and how I have slipped into karta, I have lost my so-called mukti. So that is samsaranam. You can work on this. It takes time, cognitive process, but even when the cognitive process is nearing the conclusion, the mind pops up the same doubts which have been answered. How so?
Oh, wonderful, Swami.
Then how so? Why not? Why so? Why not? That's how it is. We have nothing to do with. So more you indulge into why it is happening, how it is happening, the more is the net becoming denser. दलदल है, दलदल में फंस जाते हैं. So, think about it.
This is wonderful, Swamiji. I feel some light is shining there. That beyond the point, I think I have to put stop to thinking. I think
I'm
just
let it happen. As in, see, whenever the thought comes in, you witness the thought and try to resolve that thought into yourself. So it's a meaningless thought, so you drop it. Meaningless in the sense, the meaning is for you to be directed back to yourself. That's all it is. The value of the thought is that.
Yeah.
So I think, therefore I am. I would say my commentary on I think, therefore I am would be that I think, therefore I know I am. That's how the misunderstanding is. So even in Bangalore, I told you that it has to be continuous. As much as you do it on a daily basis, set aside your time, or then do it whenever you are free, it is better. But if you take a break, a longer duration, then you will have to come back to the same question and restart. If you remember this very question we had, unfortunately I had ended after one person's question, so I didn't record your question. That person was asking the recording also, it was not recorded. But the same example I had given, that I like that Acharya's example of the salt.
I very distinctly remember, Swami. Yes, it was maybe slightly different context, but the same question.
The question was in the Sushupti itself, whether in Sushupti, whether the mind is there or not. So, Ananda, how it should go. It was not exactly the same context, but similar.
Yeah. And I think, so experientially when as I'm working on myself, I think this probably is my stumbling block. This is where no matter what path I'm seeking, I'm just kind of getting stuck there.
Yeah, don't worry, this is common. So this will also go in with enough but it has to be, as I said, continuous, and then as long as you are clear and with Shraddha that you think that something else may be there, that if that is there, then it will take longer. But if you have Shraddha in the Shastra, then you can drop that, and if you can submit unto the Shastra that no, this is it, because people have attained it in this way, there cannot be any other possibility. If you are convinced, then it will be easier. Okay.
ठीक है स्वामी. Yeah, no, that certainly the full faith in. I think the more I'm studying that faith in Shastra is now, I think is very strong, Swamiji. So that I'm not questioning. I'm only questioning my understanding. Where am I going wrong? And I think I do feel that it's like some malleable stuff getting. It's like the obstacle or that layer of ignorance getting thinner and thinner. So that feeling is also there, that I can see that fields of ignorance going away. But that state where, I don't know if there is a state like that, but
lack of better use that state or whatever it is. We don't have any other words which can express. So it's okay to use this.
Right, sorry. So, but no, otherwise this journey has been wonderful, and particularly this Panchadashi, along with Viveka Chudamani, I've got all CDs of Paramathananji's on Panchadashi.
Okay.
So both collective.
Study Panchadashi also.
Sorry?
It's good to study Panchadashi also. Panchadashi, and especially Viveka Chudamani, this is, Panchadashi is a single chapter, so it's very easier to pick up any chapter. They are not continuous. Viveka Chudamani, it's a continuous journey, So a little different approaches, but then both are very important texts.
Yeah. So both together, both are actually being wonderful in giving clarity, Swamiji, and getting. I think it's like when you want to dive deeper, both these texts actually remove the cobwebs in your mind and give that extra level of clarity. So together, both I'm finding it's like working very. It's causing a great effect on me. So, being really feel blessed on that. Yeah.
I'll see you again in the next quarter. Hopefully this time my health is not it keeps on going. So you already know that. So sometimes I'm not able to take a class, but I would like to in Chaturmasa. I would like to finish this text so that we have achieved a considerable continuity. There has to be continuity. So I hope to be able to finish this. Let's see, Ishvara willing. Okay, so namaste. I'll see you in the next part.
Okay, so thank you.